Hi everybody, it's Janet and you're here at Fruit of the Vine Art Studio in Cincinnati, Ohio, and tonight we are doing our Christmas 2023 giveaway. We have this beautiful sled right here, 12-inch nativity scene, or 12-inch sled with a nativity scene on it. It's wood and it's got the little runners on it and a guard, and it is ready to be given away for our Christmas giveaway tonight. Now, I asked that everybody that saw the post would like it, comment, and share. And there was 8 people that did all 3. I had a lot of people like it, and I had a lot of people comment, but then I didn't get the share. Or I got the share, and there would be no like. Or it was just very, I wanted to make sure that when I do this, I'm doing it for the people that did all 3 things that I asked. And there are 8 people on the wheel tonight. I'm going to pull that up right here. I've got it on my computer. Now, just let me get this to pop up. This is a random wheel with the names on it. Let me enlarge my screen. The 8 individuals on my wheel that are in the running for this sled right here are Maria Thomas, Stacy Turek, Richard Schwarty, Lauren Andrzejewski, Carol Reynolds, Katie Robinson, Hope Dobrik Carter, and Debbie Collins. So those are the 8 people that followed through and did the 3 things that was asked in regards to that particular post. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around to you, and I'm going to scoot up here a little bit, and I'm going to touch this. This has got the names on it, and it's going to appear backwards to you. But what does it say? Maria Thomas. Maria Thomas. Maria, you won. Maria, this is going to be coming to you. I will send you a message through Messenger with a little bit of information that I'm going to need, and then this is going to be coming out to you. Congratulations, Maria. I am so happy for you. Thank you so much for sharing and liking and commenting on that post. I really appreciate that. So I'm just going to let that rest right there. Now, tonight what we're going to do, I really appreciate that. And this is I hope this looks beautiful in your home. So tonight we're going to do something that we did that's very, very, very similar to last week. Last week I did an elf in a bag, right? And it said, do not open until Christmas. And I should have brought it up here, but I didn't. It's downstairs. It's not up here, it's downstairs. Let me get that hot glue off of there. Anyway, tonight I'm going to do another elf in a bag. And this time it's going to be Santa's bag. And this particular elf is an elf that we all know and love. So using particular colors, I hope to depict our elf. And I'm going to tilt you down and zoom you in, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this. Hi, Steve. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good right there. Let me just kind of scoot this up a little bit and maybe turn this around. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with this particular elf. I'm going to start off with this bag down here. This bag is going to be Santa's bag. Last week we did we did the green bag. Yes, here it is. Thank you. Here's last week. Thank you. Steve helped me out. Brought that up for me. Here's last week, guys. We did the elf in the bag that's got the green bag, and it says, do not open until Christmas. He's got red and white striped stockings on and green little elf shoes. So that's what we did last week. This week, this is going to be really, really similar to that. So we're taking the exact same cutout that we used for the Witch's End, that we used for the Lucky Leprechaun, that we've used for this particular elf. And once again, we're going to make a 4th design using the same cutout. So, starting off, I'm going to start off by painting the bag red. So I'm going to get some red out. That ought to be plenty. If not, there's a lot in that big bottle. And I'm just going to use this round brush here. And I'm going to start off just working at this part up here at the top. The top of the bag. I'm just going to make this the red. And if I get a little bit over the line, I'm not going to stress about it. It's okay. But I'm going to try to color within the lines. I'm still learning to color within the lines, guys. I don't know. Sometimes that's what it feels like. And if you get out of the lines, that's okay. Because, you know, that doesn't hurt a thing. You can just paint over it, or you can just learn to love it the way it looks. Sometimes it looks even better when you paint over the lines. I'm just going to make little humps right here at the top of this. Got a little white rope that's going to go around it that holds the bag. And we'll let this get to drying before we start messing with that little rope. Just going to add some red in here. And I'll take my finger and push the most of it off. I'm not worried about it. And then we're going to do the same thing down here. Now, you can see I've already got my words written on here, but it shouldn't make a difference, honestly. I should be able to see through this red. It's a nice, very Christmas pretty red, but you can still see through it on these things. It's written on there. You know, if you get the kit has everything written on it, drawn on it. It's pre-sketched on here for you. You just tell me which one that you want. You know, you got 4 different choices. And if you can think of something else that I can put on this thing, just tell me and I'll try it. I'm open to all and any suggestions on what you think could be done with this particular design. I think it's a very versatile design. You can just really enjoy coming up with different ideas. This was an idea that I got actually looking at ornaments, but it's a big round ornament. It's not like this, but just I could tell exactly what it was depicting without it specifically saying what it was depicting. And I think that that's the whole idea. We're not trying to do any kind of copyrighted stuff or anything like that. We're just trying to have some fun coming up with different designs and ideas that people will enjoy. And I haven't seen anybody do this with this particular cutout. I didn't see anything like it on Google, so that's not to say that somebody might not. I don't know. I'm not claiming to be the first at anything. I'm not the first at anything. Everything and anything that we think that we're coming up with, somebody's done it before. That get all smeared right there. I guess I did that. That's how that got all smeared right there. That's all right. We're not going to worry about it. I'm going to use my white acrylic paint marker for the words after I get everything painted. That's what I'm going to use to go over the words. Well, not this. This is going to be yellow down here. To go over the word Santa, I will be using that white acrylic paint marker. I'm going to turn it a little bit. The light's awfully bright right there. It makes it hard to see. Now this cute little wood cutout design comes from a group that I'm in that's called Diverse Woodworking. That's in Indiana. So I can always get more of these if I was to happen to sell out of this design, or you wanted a bunch for yourself if you wanted to buy all 4 designs or something like that. I mean, I could easily get you as many as you wanted. Let me just press that right up in there. And now while this is just a little bit wet, I'm going to get just a little bit of black out and just give it a small amount of shading to give that bag just more of a rounded look. So I'm just going to tap my brush barely into the black, wipe most of it off, go back to the red, and I'm just going to give me a little more red is what I'm going to do. That's a little darker than I expected. We're just going to bring this around and round it out a little bit on the edges. I'm going to get more red. That got too much black. But see, you don't got to worry about things like that. It's okay. It's not going to hurt nothing. What are we going to do? We're going to add a little more red to it and just lighten it up. It's all right. It's not going to hurt it. And it's giving it exactly what I wanted it to do. The shaded look on the side of the bag. I want it to be underneath. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag my dirty brush right underneath it. Maybe a little on this side. Could be casting a small shadow. It is rounded. Maybe we'll get a little bit over here and we'll just bring it right down through here underneath. I'm just using what's already on here. Just kind of put it where you think naturally the shading is going to be on the bag. It's going to be right underneath the rope area. And then we're going to get it back over here and get a little more. Bring it along right through here. Okay, now you can see how that kind of rounds out the bag. It gives the bag more of a rounded look to it. Maybe I could put a little bit more. Right along through there to kind of make that a little more. Now you see how this has got those little curves, so you want to kind of mimic that, but don't take it all the way to the top. Leave the top of it still red. The middle of it's still that bright red. So you're just going to leave it like that. That's about all we need to do with that for the moment. Now we do have a little red feather that we need to paint while we're playing around with the red. But I don't want to use this brush for that. I'm going to use this brush. This small round brush. I'm just going to get a little bit wet. And there's this little feather in the cap that we're just going to go ahead and add the red paint to. Do you know who has a red feather in his cap? A lot of people have a red feather in their cap, don't they? Actually, they do. Okay, and then we'll get just a touch, just the tiniest touch of that black. And on the bottom half, we're just going to darken that feather up. On the bottom half of it. Now it's light on the top and dark on the bottom. Alright, that does enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and just rinse off this brush. And we're going to get out just a little bit of dark green. Lemons right here. This is Kelly Green. And I'm going to use this small round brush I'm just going to come up here where the hat is, and I'm going to paint this part of it this color green. I could have probably used the other brush on this, but that's all right. This brush will fill it in. There's not a lot of this area that's going to be green. Kind of give it a rounded look to it. Okay, and then we're going to leave this area right there the way that it is for right now and come down here. And do this part of it. Probably should just draw it all the way down to there because that's going to be a green too. But that's okay. I'll make that darker green. We'll add a little dark to it. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and put that around there. Okay, and then I'm just going to put, let me get this right there, just around the inside of the rim, this same Kelly green. Just like that. Bring this right around through here. I was just thinking of something. I didn't do the sides, did I? Uh-oh. Yep, I kind of need to do the sides. Well, we can always do that in a minute. Okay, I am just going to hit this up on the side right here with the green since I'm thinking about it now. I'll have to go back and do the red. That's okay. Hold that up and I can see differently. Okay. What is that? Get off. Whatever it is, get off of there. Okay, so this is going to be this Kelly green back here. Excuse me. Let me bring this down over the edge. I'm not trying to get too carried away, but it doesn't really matter if it gets in there. That's going to be a dark green anyway. That will be a dark green too. Hey, Ryan. Oh, you want to paint? I love to paint. You know it. Hope you're doing good. Ready for Christmas and everything's merry and bright. It was great to see you not that long ago. And I appreciate you checking out the page. We just did sleds not too long ago. I got some pretty sleds that gave one away tonight. I don't know if you was aware of this, that we had the giveaway. Oh, just kind of working this around here. Okay, now I'm going to touch just a little bit of black, like I did before with this same little brush. And this time I'm going into the green and making the green just a little bit darker. I don't want it to be too dark, but I want it to definitely look darker, have a darker tone than what we're looking at right now. And that's going to go right here, around his little kneecap, around this kneecap. Part is going to be back in here, under the hat. And then on the inside of this hat is also going to be this dark green. Don't have to mix up any more because this is the only spot where I need it. I'm going to make it work. There we go. I got to get it over here on the outside now, don't I? That's all right. It just needs a little bit here and a little bit on the other side of that knee. Because I'm not going to worry too much. I can get it a little bit right there and right there. Fill that in. Okay. Now you can see the inside of the hat and around his little kneecaps. Okay, while I'm waiting on that, let me see. Guess the next thing I could do would be, I'm either going to have to get out the yellow, but I want to wait a minute before I get out the yellow. I need for that green to dry. So, I guess what we'll do is we'll turn it back around here, rinse this off, and get out some white. Whoops, I'm knocking over ribbons. Got a box of ribbons sitting over here next to me. I need to pick some stuff up. I got stuff all around. That makes it so much easier, though, when I'm sitting here crafting and stuff. Just reach over. Here's this, here's that. Everything's right around me. Does make it kind of crazy up here sometimes, so I have to admit that. It does make it kind of crazy up here sometimes. Okay, I'm going to take my little liner. And I'm just going to make these white blobs. Just making white circles. And I'm going to go ahead and take it over the edge since I'm going to have to go back and fix the red. Just pull the paint out there. I like these little longer bristle brushes. Bristle brushes. Can I speak? For the most part, I do. They're pretty easy to manipulate. Okay. Just going to keep making little white blobs here for the rope. And I want it to kind of be kind of thickly painted right now. I want this to stay wet for me for a few seconds or minutes or so. Little couple of frayed things hanging down on the end of the rope. I'll just fill these in kind of quickly here, and then you know what I'm going to do next, right? I'm going to dip this brush into some black, and then I'm going to smear that around everything. Make some shading on this. That's why I want it to still be kind of wet. That's why I'm making this just a bit thick on here. I want it to stay kind of wet so that when I get to the gray, it's going to blend pretty quickly. And then we get this right here now. That'll have our exclamation point mixed in it, but we'll worry about that when it comes to shading. Okay. Okay, now just like I said I was going to do, I'm going to take this, touch it into the black, mix me a little bit of gray right here. And then I'm just going to take that and just kind of go just around some of the edges and some of the areas on one side. And get a little more of the gray. I want it to curve around like this. A little bit of darkness at the bottom of the knot. And then it's going to be on this side right here. Just going to drag some gray on each individual piece of the knot. Knot twist, whatever you want to call it, the twist on the knot. You know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have to be right on the edge of it. It doesn't matter. You just want to get it on there, like kind of making a backward C. See how it shaded the rope? Very simple to do. Now we'll be outlining it with black, so that's all the more shading that we need for the moment. That's perfectly fine just the way that it is. So I'm going to rinse my brush. I think it's time to get out some yellow because we're probably going to need 2 layers of the yellow. Yellow's usually pretty tricky. And I do have another new one over there just in case. I forgot to flip this upside down, so... That ought to be pretty good. We'll see. I'll flip it upside down now. We'll put it over here so it can be held up. That might help it. I'm going to use this bigger brush right now. Just rinse that red out of it. Hi, Jessica. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. We're ready to start using some yellow. And I think I'm going to start just working on his legs first, and then I'm going to go back and use the small brush to get in those little bitty areas, because it's probably going to take 2 layers of yellow. There's a hair right there. Because I want this to be really, really pretty bright yellow. Have we figured out who we're painting yet? I'm sure we have. Feel like eating some spaghetti and M&Ms. Okay, I gotta smooth that out. There's a hair again. Where's the hairs coming from? Are they coming off the brush? Just gonna keep adding the yellow here. Right around his little boot. Right up around his knee. Smooth that down. Gotta smooth that down a little bit. That looks kind of clumpy. Nobody wants clumpy tights on their elf. Alright. I gotta get this on the inside. Smooth that down a little better. Yeah, that looks better. That does look better. I don't know if you can tell from your angle, but that does look better. That was kind of clumped up, kind of clumpy looking. Let's come over here and work on this leg. I hope you're feeling better, Jessica. You was sick for a little bit, you and Damien both. I hope you guys are doing good. Or at least doing better. And luckily Alice, she managed to not catch it, huh? That's always a blessing, my goodness. Last thing you want is both of the kids sick. Alright, I'm just going to keep adding the yellow here. Get these bright yellow stockings. Get this on the side. Well, I got all that paint on my brush. Bring it over here. I'm going Got to have a little more over here. All right, just a little bit more right there on his knee. I'm going to take this little brush and fill in this little spot right here between the feather and where his jacket hangs down. And then, of course, we've got to fill in this yellow right here. I better watch that. That'll be touching it next. Let me move that over here. Hold it with this other hand. Put that little yellow rim around his cap. I just kind of mooshed it right there, didn't I? That's okay. It's not going to hurt it. Scooch that back up with my finger. All right. He's looking cute. It's turning out cute. Cute, cutesy, cutesy. Okay, I'm just going to put this brush down for a moment and let it sit for a second. I'm going to get a little bit of apple tart green. Just a little. I need to touch this right here. Right, it's got a dark spot right there. Okay, I'm going to go to the apple tart. Let me wipe that off. And I'm just going to take the apple tart and I'm going to just make some little designs. S shapes backwards and then forward, making little S shapes. Just kind of going around his outfit. And we'll do the same thing over here. Right around there. And then it's kind of hidden behind, so it'll just kind of go this way, and then you'll see the bottom half of it curling up right there. And then you'll see the beginning of the next one, which will be going right like just like that. You see the little design going around his jacket. Hey, Carol. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. Thank you. So getting there. We're getting kind of close to it at this point. That yellow, I think, might need one more. While I'm waiting on that, though, I guess what I can do is I can rinse this off, and I can go back around the edges of this, because I did not on the red at all. Which is very rare that I don't do something like that, because you want to make sure that all the elements, when you have it hanging outside, that what is, you know, out there in the elements facing outwards towards your street has paint covering it. Now, you can always paint the back of them, too, if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. That does seal it. Of course, you know, might rub off on your door a little bit. I don't know. It shouldn't, but there's a possibility. I usually don't paint the backs. I know a lot of people do. I guess that's really up to you if you want to. Now, if I was selling it to you and you know, you're buying it custom painted and you said that you wanted it painted on the back, I would definitely paint it. I have no issue at all doing it. But I just don't want it. If it's going to be hanging on my door, I don't want the paint on the back of it. And most of the things that I paint, I do hang on my own door. Unless I sell them. They end up hanging on my door. Sometime or another. All right. I want that to stay dark right there on that edge, so. Work out the bag rounded. I guess this is the little stuff that I could do off camera. Paint the edges and all of that, but then, you know, I'd be turning off the camera and going on to something else, and that'd be the end of that. So now you can see the edges are all painted up here. Let me rinse this brush. And I think that yellow is dry enough to have another coat placed on it. Bring that right along through here. Don't want to get too carried away. Calgon, take me away. We'll just put a little more yellow right there just to kind of... Doesn't have to be all over that little spot. Adding another layer of this yellow real fast. Don't want to forget the little band on his hat. His little hat band. Needs another layer of yellow as well. in. There we go. Okay. I'm going to touch a tiny bit of that darker green with my yellow. No, that's not going to go the direction I want. That's going to be too light. Let me touch the black and wipe it off. And then get some yellow. I want lighter than that. I just want a shaded yellow. I don't want it to be too gray looking. That's why I didn't really want to add the black, but that's all right. Just a little bit of shading so that we can put it like, oop, not that much. Right here, underward, where his knee is. I don't know if that's dark enough. I don't think so. There we go. It's got a little bit of a green tint to it. And we're just going to bring it down the back of his legs, right along the top of his shoe. Back of this leg and around the top of this shoe. Just a little bit here and a little bit right in here around his knee and under the feather. Kind of just pull it in a little bit in spots, kind of give it the appearance that it's his tights. Here, we'll pull it up right here around his knee. You see the shading on his legs. Looks a little dark, but you can always just take a little more yellow. Tone it down some. Okay. There, that looks just more, a little more shaded there. All right. I'd say the next thing we should do is probably paint his shoes black while those stockings dry. Don't really need to rinse it off, but I'm going to. Turn this around to the black. Cute little black boots. And they got a little curl on the end of them. Instead of having a little bell like our other one had a little bell on the end of it, this has just a little curl on the tip of it. Get that around the outside while I'm looking at it. While it's on my mind. Might be easier if I just pick it up. Not if I'm painting on the top of it when I'm trying to paint on the side of it, huh? Ah. Who knows? Right up to there. Alright. Oh, I gotta get this little spot over here on the front of the boot. Missing that side. About up to right there, I'd say. Alright, and then we'll do this one over here. Just bring this around. Make a little curly Q over here on the end of his shoe. Okay. Get it all the way up to right in here. And about right here. Get that excess paint off of that top. I think that's good, but I can't tell. Not quite. Let me hold it up. Okay. That's looking pretty good so far. Turn it this way now. Throw this in here. Get this little thin brush. And I'm going to start outlining stuff. I think I'm going to start right here on this hat. This all seems to be pretty dry, and I can put my, well, kind of put my hand down on it anyway. And then we're just gonna make a little line. Doesn't have to go all the way there. A little more. Better. Sometimes I think, well, outlining it like that gives it such a cartoony look. And then I remember, well, it is sort of cartoony, and it is going to hang on the door. So it will be hanging from a distance. So you do want it to be able to be seen, and outlining it is definitely one of the best ways to make sure that it's going to be seen from the street. Okay, the hat just goes right up into there. Little black feather. And then we're just gonna draw a little black line right down the middle of the feather. Just like that. Outline his jacket here. Behind him. And the edge of his knee. Right around that part of his jacket. Around his knee right there. Give him a couple wrinkles in his stocking right there. There we go. I'm not going to mess with that little part. And I'm not going to outline those little curly cues that I put on there. I'm just going to leave them the way they are. Now outline the top of the bag. Let me turn it a little bit. There we go. Now we're not going to make this go all the way down. It just kind of like we'll make this little curly thing in here. I can just start at the top and just go about halfway. Same with right here. We're just going to bring it under a little C. Do the same thing with this one. Just kind of bring it underneath where your gray is. Separating the little twists in the knot in the rope. bloop, and pull it down. Just kind of pull it over and pull it down. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of make little humps down here at the bottom that connect them together. On this side right here, bloop, bloop, bloop. See how it kind of just pulls the little rope all together, the little rope that's tied around Santa's bag. All right, so now it's about time to get started. Oh, I see something that I missed. Let me get a little bit of white. Make me a little gray here. Right in the back of this shoe. And then that means I'm going to have to take that and go back to the black. Bring the stocking leg up. Just like that. And I'm going to rinse that off, and I'm going to get a little white. I'm going to use the white to put right here inside of this curled up area on his shoes. And the little curly toes. And you get just a little more white right here. Not that much. All right. Work on this one. Bring it right up this way. Worked better when I turned it the other way, didn't it? Let me try this. Yeah, that's a lot smoother. A lot smoother when you do it that way. And there's his little shoes. All right, and then we're going to give him a little couple of wrinkles in his shoes. A little bit of fun around the edges. I always like doing this part. I don't know, this always seems like it's fun. It's just, it kind of makes things pop. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on his leg right here on the front. We're going to drag a white line here. And do the same thing on the other leg. And I'm even going to put one on the inside of his leg. And one right here. Couple of little white lines on his feather. Right around through here. Put one right along the top of the hat. And then maybe just a little bit down the yellow here. Why not? That gives it a fun look. And it'll go up and down. I want it to look a little smoother than that one. It's smooth enough. I don't need to worry about that. And let's put a little line right along the hem. Oh, don't do that. Now I was doing so good. He was doing so good, so good. See how those little white lines just make things pop? You can really see the hat now and the little feather and all of that stuff just kind of comes to life when you add those just fun little white lines. Now, of course, we're going to have to put them here too, but I'm going to hold off on doing that because I've got to write first. I don't know if I'm going to. Might have to add a little water to this paint. This is clean water over on this. I have two different cups. I keep two different cups. And one is for rinsing my brush, and the other one is clean water all the time. So that you can add a little water to your paint. Try to thin it down a little bit. Doesn't necessarily work. Well, it does if you just do it right and you have patience and you just like with the last time on your downstroke, it's going to be wider. So on the S, that would be right through here. Okay. This would be just a tiny bit wider too, since it's kind of going down. Give it a little rounded tip there. A is going to be wide going down right here. Right through here. I gotta make this connect nice, smooth with the connection. This will be a little wider right here. The A. Let me get a little more water on my white. Make that a little wider, and then we'll just connect this. Bring this up, and then press it down and make it wider. The T is going to be wide coming down. Just connect this. Trying to make that as smooth as I can. And for whatever reason, there we go. That's better at least. Santa. Now I gotta cross my T. It's a little hairy looking, but that's all right. You can tell it's hand painted. You can tell that's hand painted. Okay, we've got an exclamation point. All right. You can kind of see how it turned out. Yeah, the white lines, they really do make it pop. The little white lines make things just show up so much better. Let me just, I can see this little spot, and you know me. I don't want it to look like that. That's better. Okay, now this is going to be yellow. And hopefully this yellow will show up on the red. Does look like it might. concentrating. Let me try pulling it from the top down. Okay, and then you gotta put a little root at the top. There we go. Get a little more of that yellow. It's so quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Here we go again. Up here with a tickle. Oh, it's so dry up here. That's part of it. Everybody at my work is sick. I'm trying to avoid being sick. But you know how that is. You might try. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it. It's the exact same thing happened last week, isn't it? Before I could get done, I started having a little coughing fit. Makes my eyes water. I can't breathe through my nose, so I gotta breathe through my mouth, and then I get a little tickle in my throat. Come on. We are almost there. Put that right at the tips of it. I know him. So now we have the elf in Santa's bag. It says, Santa, I know him. Ha ha. Oh, what does that say, Carol? Let me get up closer. Humidifier time. Yes. Oh my goodness. The heat really. My throat is so dry. And it's just like my skin's itchy and flaky. And yes, I feel it. I feel it. Even around my fingers is starting to crack a little bit. Steve's hands crack really bad. We definitely need to get the humidifier going. Okay, now before I end, like I said, we still got a couple of little fine white lines just to put around our bag. And that really is all that's left to do. It's done. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I appreciate you being here with me tonight. Maria Thomas, you're going to be getting that beautiful sled. I'm going to send you a DM. I just need a little bit of information from you. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I will see you again on Saturday. Oh, I'm glad I'm not coughing now. That tickle went away. Needed some water, obviously. All right, guys. Here's the other little elf. There he is, and then here's this one. There they go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you again on Saturday. Bye-bye. Oh, what does it say? Show connection. Show my connection. I don't know.